So in this video, I'm going to talk about how to back up your computer. So the way I back up my computer is I have two hard drives that are identical, right? So you can see that I have one called Western Digital Black and the other one's called Western Digital Red. You see right here, right? And they're pretty much identical. They both contain like a timeline and, the days of the year, the year, right? They're both pretty much identical. So that's how I do it. I like to have two hard drives. And the reason why is because if one of these hard drives fails, then I can always buy another hard drive and clone the data from the existing hard drive onto the new hard drive, right? So at any single time, I always have two hard drives for backup. I think I read online that it's good to have three hard drives for backups, three backups, but I think two hard drives will do. The problem with having a single hard drive for backing up is that if your one external hard drive dies, then all your data is lost. So that's not so good. And then if you have no backups at all, then if your computer dies, then you're kind of screwed. So backing up with external hard drives is one way to do it. These days, external hard drives, especially the ones that have a disc and a needle, like a spinning disc and a needle, like that are magnetized, those are pretty cheap these days. They've been around for a bit. So, like, if it was a solid state drive, it might be a bit more expensive. But I'm totally fine with using a spinning disc type hard drive. There's also other ways to back up, such as Backblaze, for example. If you look at Backblaze, it's a cloud storage company. So Backblaze allows you to continue. It just backs up for you automatically in the background. You don't have to do anything. And then if you ever lose your computer or lose your data, you can just call up Backblaze and they'll send you a USB containing all your data. So that's pretty cool. It's a subscription service though. So pretty much that means you get charged every month or year or whatever period of time. So I know some people also back up to like Google Drive or iCloud or Microsoft OneDrive. Those are all valid options and those are all subscription type services. Now there's also another way to do it, um, which is called Time Machine. All right, so if you look up Time Machine, it's only for Mac devices, so Apple only. And Time Machine keeps track of all these different snapshots on the right hand side, and you can back up to a certain time in the past, like a certain snapshot in the past. The thing is, I know that Apple used to build their own routers, and it was called Airport Time Capsule. And the cool part about having an Apple router was that you can back up your data from your computer to your Apple router automatically. So there's no wires or anything. Your data just streams through the air and goes to your Apple router for backup. So if you ever have your computer die or something, you can just go over to your Apple router and recover your data. But these days, Apple no longer builds routers. They disbanded their router team a couple of years ago. So yeah, they don't build routers anymore. So nowadays, if you still want to use, you would have to go into your Time Machine in System Preferences, and then you would have to select Backup Disk. And your backup disk would be some external hard drive. Now, there are advantages to using the Apple's Time Machine backup, but one problem that I see with it is that you're pretty much locked into the Apple ecosystem, right? So if you wanted to switch over to Windows or Linux or something, if you have a Time Machine backup, it's pretty much useless over there. So that's why I much prefer, instead of using Time Machine, I much prefer to just back up to an external hard drive the regular way. That way I can port it over to Windows or Linux. Now, if you go to Disk Utility, this is where you can view all your hard disks and modify them and change the format and stuff, right? So I have my main hard drive, right? So this is my main hard drive. It's in the Apple's APFS format and stuff like that. And then I also have two hard drives. One is my Western Digital Red, and the other is my Western Digital Black. They're both 2 terabytes. And if you want to erase your hard drive, uh, you can totally erase it. I wouldn't recommend erasing it, but thing is, I'm just trying to show you here the different formats you can have, right? So if you use APFS, this is pretty much like Apple's format, and macOS Extended, these are also Apple's format. These two formats, one is called exFAT and the other one is called FAT. These two they work on Mac and on Windows. So that's why I recommend you format your drive as an exFAT. FAT works as well, but FAT is an older format that only supports like a certain number of gig. Like your file size is limited to like some amount of gigabytes. exFAT has a bigger upper limit for how big your file size can be. So that's why I suggest exFAT. Um, I know that Windows and Mac, they all have their own uh, proprietary formats. So on Mac OS, they have HFS Plus or something. I might have to Google it, something like that. And then on Windows, they have NTFS, right? So if you had NTFS, if your drive is formatted NTFS, you can only use it on Windows. And if your drive is formatted like HFS Plus or whatever it's called, then you can only use it on Apple devices or your Mac or whatever, right? And both ways are annoying. And I think Linux is pretty cool. Linux can also open NTFS, right? But that's why I kind of don't recommend you use NTFS. Even NTFS is really secure and good stuff like that. But if you want it to be easily portable across both devices, I would just suggest exFAT as your file form, as your hard drive format. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So overall, like there's different subscription services for backups. You can also do like a time machine backup. Oh yeah, one thing about this time machine backup is that you can plug in a external hard drive, but I also looked into wireless hard drives. Right, so wireless hard drive. All right, so if you search up wireless hard drives, you will find some wireless hard drives online, but they tend to cost a bit more than wired hard drives. And the reason why you would want a wireless hard drive is only for the time machine thing, so that you can select a backup disk that is not connected to your computer, right? So you can stream your data to a wireless hard drive. But wireless hard drive has two problems. One of them is that it costs power to run a wireless hard drive. So either your wireless hard drive has to have a battery inside of it so that it's able to stay on while it's streaming data between your computer and itself, or your wireless hard drive has to be plugged into the wall at all times. And that's going to mean it's sucking some power out of the wall socket as well, which is a bit wasteful. So I think overall it's probably best to get the wired type hard drive that you can just plug into your computer, and to have two of them the way I have it. That way you can, if one dies, you can have you can buy another one and make and the same stuff that I said earlier. But I don't know. I'd like to hear your thoughts below on how you like to back up your data though. So also I hope you learned something from this video and got something out of it. All right, that's all for this video, and I'll see you next time.